welcome to the interview on. Yeah, so thank you very much again for being here and attending, especially for the people being present. And I'm really happy to be here with Steffen in this topic, and we're waiting for Antonio. So Antonio, if you don't hesitate to join us when you can, okay? Regarding identity and wallets, governance for EUDI wallet rollout. So Steffen, if you can introduce yourself, would be great.
Okay. I always wanted to have an interview with you, so thanks for this chance. Yeah, as mentioned, I just lead the identity and trust subject within MSG and take part in the standardization in ISO ETSI and CEN and related to the EUDI subject, especially in CEN GDC 19 on decentralized identity management, in ETSI ESI regarding the standards for the qualified trust services. So, and just contribute to several other organizations.
And the person that can remember every standard, by memory, the most impressive memory that I know of. So thank you very much for being part of the joining forces for blockchain standardization. Yeah, so EUDI wallet and blockchain is a controversial topic. I think they were born together because I'm happy to say I'm coming also from the self-sovereign identity. So we saw EIDAS 2 coming from that position, and then walking the way to certificates, traditional certificates X509. So now EIDAS 2 get published on the implementing acts, and we see some deception on the self-sovereign identity side. But what does it mean, the current EIDAS 2 implementation, the EUDI wallet for blockchain?
Yeah, I guess what we have to take into account are two subjects. First of all, we had the hype of blockchain some years ago. What we just missed from the blockchain experts on the subject is to transfer use cases into standards. And this is exactly the issue, the result we see now. Yeah, then the EIDAS 2 came up with really short timelines on the implementing acts. Yeah, it was published in May 24, and we had really short timelines. First implementing act in November 24, then we had next one in January, the next one in May. So really short timelines. And to be honest, the standards for decentralized identity management were not ready. We had no ETSI, we had no CEN standards on this, we had no ISO standards on this. Even if there would have somebody say, "Hi, I want to reference them," what should they reference? There was no standard. Yeah, this is first of all. Second of all, we have short timeline in the EIDAS 2 until the EUDI wallet becomes fully applicable. Yeah, or need to be provided, which is January 2027. So even with the interim timelines, the member states, from my perspective, had only one chance: rely on the technology which is there, and only add the subjects you may need for the EUDI to provide something by January 2027. And especially also driven to the fact that for decentralized identity management, what did we have? We had the WCC specification. We have a WCC specification for data I don't know, 200 whatever did methods without any interoperability in between. And this exactly the fact that SSI was first, but forgot a bit of standardization. And on the other hand, a regulation with really short timelines and a high pressure to the member states led exactly to only one choice: take what we have. In terms of blockchain, I have to say exactly this issue led also a bit to issue for the EBSI in this subject, that ETSI was there. Many subjects we have in the EIDAS was already running in ETSI, but the concentration on existing technology in order to fulfill the timelines, from my perspective, led also a bit, or changed a bit, the focus to legacy technology instead of using what we have. And within this, I guess, decision makers also forgot a bit to look to the left and to the right. What do we have? So let's take the EBSI. We have in EIDAS the requirement that any relying party needs to be registered in order to deal with the EUDI wallet. We need this for every 31 member states of EU and EFTA. What do we see? We develop a PKI for each member state. There is something we have, it's called Trusted Issue and Verifier Registry in ETSI. But yeah, this would have required to look on the whole picture and to take into account not only legacy, but also existing solutions within the EBSI. But I guess the EBSI lost in this case a bit with this focus on legacy due to time pressure.
Okay.
And due to a lack of standards within the decentralized identity management subject, so that the people said, there is no standard. There's also no need to look a bit further if we can reuse something. Let's look on legacy to fulfill the timeline. And so this is a bit the issue. So, and this is a bit of pity of blockchain.
That brings me a lot of optimism, even when we are not yet. There's a lot of work being happening right now in the TC 307. In every work group, we have some, a lot of, we're here. So, and what I'm seeing is that we have still, related to EUDI, we have still, personal identification, the data, PIP, it will be solved. There's no room for DLTs there, pretty sure. Qualified electronic attestation of attributes and PAP EAA probably have a way to go, but I see a room of opportunity on non-qualified and all the flows, trust registries and flows on the business wallet side. So from what you're saying, what I'm being impelled to, okay, we need to be faster, because once we start discussing the business wallet or the AAA, there will be an opportunity to scale with DPK. Is that right?
Exactly. This is exactly our chance, because without being too critical in terms of the EIDAS regulation, but let's be honest, the most transactions we do not have between business and citizens, or between government and citizens. How many times you go to your public authority? I haven't been there since, I don't know, 5 years. Yeah. But how many transactions we have B2B between companies, or between companies and government? And the real business lies within the attestation of attributes. How many?
Hi, my apologies. So unfortunately, Antonio cannot join, it seems, but on behalf of LNET, we have Urko Piedra, who's joining. right
Urco.
now, and he is happy to participate in the discussion.
Urco
Thank you so much.
Larrañaga, you mean? Urco, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, apologies. Urco, welcome.
Hi,
Welcome,
Urco.
welcome, everyone. I'm sorry.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Hi.
I'm fine.
Nice
Yeah.
to meet you. Nice to see you again.
Again.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Um,
Antonio.
It's okay. It's okay. May I
and
introduce
Robles,
yourself?
yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, okay. I'm Urco Larrañaga Piedra. Currently, I'm at LNET, working as a blockchain solution architect focused on digital identity solutions, and mainly I come here to talk about the interoperable protocol that we are working on and that we are trying to define a public available specification in ISO. So I hope that will be interesting for you, and that's all.
Okay, thank you. Urco was also brother in arms in ETSI Vector and also in DC4EU. So we're, Urco has been involved really deep in EBSI, but also in the LNET digital identity. So thank you very much for joining us. So we were talking about EIDAS has, was born or has a strong SSI has had a strong influence in EIDAS2 from the very beginning. Now we reach to a point when according to Steffen, and I agree, there were not enough specification to really implement self-sovereign identity approach to EIDAS2. So we were reaching to the point on, okay, we need to be faster. The opportunities probably are on the non-qualified verified credential and the business wallet traffic. Okay, more in the business wallet traffic. So Steffen was more focused on that. So you have seen also the ecosystem in LNET, in LATAM. So how's your vision on that? How EUDI is impacting, the strategies and the policies on LATAM?
Yeah, I think that from LATAM, where we try, and mainly when we focus on initiatives or projects that try to improve the financial inclusion and the situation of poor agriculture and farmers, for example, for them reaching the European market is very important, and because of that, we think that digital identity can be a bridge to match both regions, Europe and Latin, because once we have achieved a digital identity that is available and is enough mature in LATAM, we understand that this digital identity should be used also, or should be accepted also in Europe. So because of that, we think that, as you mentioned, verifiable, non-qualified verifiable credentials are important. I think that mostly in our region as LATAM, because there isn't a region or organized administration, not like in Europe with the European Commission. In LATAM, there are some entities that join the different states, but there isn't any public administration to manage the interest of all the regions. So because of that, what we understand is that we have to start building the digital identity of each state aligned with the interoperable protocol that we are working on, that we hope that will be available also in ISO. And in that sense, as we understand, then we should bridge those digital identities with the European EUDI wallet and business wallet initiatives. Because of that, also the message that we would like to share with you is that we think that is very interesting, or for us it would be very interesting if from the European Commission and for the EBSI you can also share the experiences related to interoperability with us and contribute to this public available specification that we are working in ISO. So this interoperable protocol will in practice join or at least facilitate to us doing that bridge among LATAM digital identities and the European one.
Okay, thank you, Urko. Yeah, I see I've been personally seeing the opportunities that we have with the Article 17, I think, in the IDEAS 2, recognition of third countries. And I think that was one of the topics on the agreement, global agreement, European Union, India. So that definitely is a strong asset that we have. So yeah, coming to that, Urko and Steffen, so regarding business wallet, I see a lot of room for improvement there. I think we agreed on that. And probably ISO will be the main holder of interoperability, interregional interoperability, or how do you see that? Okay, so how can we really build, because businesses operate globally right now. Okay, we have the Global Legal Entity Identifier Foundation, GLAIF, that is, implemented some LEI code. But, we need some kind of interoperability because companies are operating cross-border. So where do you see the space of standardization, and how could that complement regulation?
In terms of the business wallet, I guess this is our chance for Ledger, because there we have the most transactions, yeah, and where we need exactly this combination of identity, attestation, and transaction, where we need subjects like DID, and where we need an infrastructure which allows immutable tempo-proof transactions cross-border and cross-jurisdictional. From my personal perspective, I would say, yes, we need international interoperability, but this is the next step. Yeah? In the first step, we have a proposal for an EU business wallet. Let's concentrate on Europe. Let's do our homework there, and then we can transfer it to the world. We have in Europe a European blockchain service infrastructure. We have to say this is a unique infrastructure. Blockchain infrastructure among the member states, where we have the validator nodes provided by the member states with a governmental trust anchor. There is no similar example in the world. Yeah, and let's use this infrastructure exactly for subjects like the business wallet, because many subjects were already built within the EU projects. Concerning standardization, we have the standard for the ledger, where we can do the certification, and it's an open secret that we took the ISO standards and only pretty much wrote the profile for Europe on this. There will be a standard on interoperability for DID, where we did pretty much the same game. We used the subjects from DIF, from WCC, and wrote a profile for Europe. You may take this sense specification back to ISO, put an ISO label on this, and maybe do some changes that it looks worldwide. And we have pretty much the same for decentralized trust management. So to be honest, what we do, we take the specifications we already have from the ETSI, but unfortunately, currently it's only an ETSI specification. We need the correct logo on those specifications, transfer them in a sense specification, which will be pretty much a profile of a corresponding ISO standard. But why do we need this European one? If a conformity assessment body wants to certify a qualified trust service provider in Europe, I need something which is called ETSI or 10. This is exactly what's the requirement to ensure a conformity assessment that it could be recognized by such a conformity assessment body, and exactly to be on forefront that we have those standards when the business wallet regulation is coming, that we do not have the same issue like in the EIDAS, that we then say we have those European standards and there is the possibility to reference those standards, especially since the proposal for the business wallet says business wallet issued by trust service provider or qualified trust service provider, and concerning the attestation refers to the trust services. So my clear message, let's do our homework in Europe now, that we do not have the same issue in the EU business wallet again, and then transfer it to the world, but do not focus on the world first. Let's do our homework first in Europe. Let's collect experiences, let's get experiences on the subject, and then transfer it back, and especially give European infrastructures the chance to be used by European industries, but also other DLT networks like ISPA or to work on similar standards.
Okay, so how are you going through the business side and legal entities in LNET, Urko, in that identity and electronic attestation of attributes?
In LNET, our approach is a more decentralized trust framework, and in our case, it is more focused on the management of ecosystems. No, as I have mentioned previously, I think that from the vision of Europe, has a registry or a list of qualified trusted service provider. This was from the EIDAS 1. Now probably with EIDAS 2 there will be some evolutions of modifications in that, but it's something that is more centralized because there is a administration that manages it. In our case, as each state or also each region is more isolated or works more on its own, what we are working is a trust framework where we can put and join together all the ecosystems, but then each of them manages its own trusted list. For example, as an example, we can have now if in the academic ecosystem, and I think that is also BSI's main experience. If we are having projects and the project of using verified credentials in the academic sector is growing, there we add them to our trust framework. We identify which is the main entity that will manage that ecosystem, and then they manage their own trusted list and trust framework, but on their own. But that mini or that sub trust framework is linked to the main one. So all this information, what we are working on is to have it available in LNET blockchain, all this information. So when you verify your credential or any activity of an entity, you can validate and verify to which trust framework in which trust framework is part that entity, and also which other entities has added it to it. So we are trying to do all this using the smart contract and all this information to be available in LNET's blockchain.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And last, I think, not last question. We have been focusing on, we came from SSI that was purely on chain. We have reached to one point. We are probably has mixed feelings. Probably it's more off chain, but probably we'll have a connection on chain someday. We are implementing standards on DIDs and standards on private information on chain, profile interoperability profiles, as Urko said. One of the missing piece is, okay, how do we connect all that verifiable credentials, digitally, don't name it digital identity, verifiable credentials with the on-chain world that in the end is what is blockchain was born, DeFi, TradeFi, traceability. How, there's the T-Rex, but T-Rex is not normalized. There are some initiatives to do that. So who is working on that? What initiatives are happening? Or there is no gap to be filled?
Do we really need to combine this? To be honest, why should I put identity on a chain? Why would anybody put PII on a warm storage? And the blockchain is nothing more, nothing less than a distributed warm storage. Yeah, I guess nobody within Europe would do this. So I guess we should use Ledger at what it is. In terms of identity, it's nothing more, nothing less than a decentralized PKI. And for this, we should use it. Yeah, and we should ensure the interaction between centralized trust management and decentralized. So use the EBSI or ISPO or whatever blockchain network as decentralized PKI with its decentralized trust management. If I have a corresponding centralized trust management, I only need to do the bridge. So based on, for example, did X509 to have the translation in the trust list according to EIDAS, or when the trust list is ready to accept URI again, we can put it directly in the trust list. And to put on the ledger only what's necessary, which means non-fungible tokens, traceability events, etc., linked to a DID. And what it is, for this I have the DID document, there it's written where I can go and I can ask who is behind if I have the access rights. But let's avoid to come back to this I guess, core issue of blockchain. We can rescue the world with blockchain and do anything with blockchain. I guess this was the main issue, that because after the hype was over, everybody failed. Yeah, and this is exactly the challenge which we fight again and again since years. So my recommendation in this case would be clearly differentiate for the purposes in case you speak about identity management and attestation of attributes, decentralized PKI, and please do not only refer to non-qualified. You can do easily qualified attestation of attributes also with a qualified ledger as a decentralized PKI when the standards are ready, we are working on. And in case of traceability, tokenization, put a token on the ledger, put a traceability on the ledger, combine it, if you like, with a DID. And who is behind the DID? For this, we have a DID document, we have an off-chain storage, and there you can ask. But please do not put any PII on a ledger. You would never put PII on a warm storage, even in your SAP. And if you do not do it there since the last 30 years, there is no reason to do it with a distributed warm like a DRT.
Thanks. Urko, are you, because I know that you're connecting like you're for unbanked population, you are connecting central bank spec accounts with AOAs, external owned accounts, and then connecting to digital identity somehow. Is that something you're going to, or you agree that should stay separate domains?
No, I agree with Stefan that probably we don't have to introduce or register the personal information in the ledger. But I think that also there are other strategies, and also as you mentioned, are standards from the Ethereum community that more or less allow to us managing how a user can be identified by without registering any personal information. And also, this for us is one of the main issues that we are also trying to face and to solve. And in that sense, for example, we are because of that also we are trying to test how digital wallet can work against them and can interoperate without revealing any personal information, because as I mentioned previously, the interoperable protocol that we are working on is focused on how digital wallet can exchange information using different DLTs, and in this case, identifying or having enough trust related to that is an important issue. So I think that also any recommendation or lessons learned from the European Commission will be welcome for us.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we could be here hours, but I think it's time to open the floor to the room. If there are any questions, comments, or concerns, it's okay. Then I can follow. I can keep. Anyway, we have something like 3 minutes or like that. So if you wanted to have a closing statement, Steffen, or yeah.
I guess my closing statement would be, let's use European standards. Let's focus on European standards first in terms of decentralized identities and blockchain to enable it for European to be used by European companies in high regulated environments. Let's do our homework first in Europe, and let's do not disclose or cut some certain formats or certain standards from the beginning in terms of, for example, attestation formats we had in the first session. Use the main ones we have in the industry, MDOC, SCJV, CWSC, VCDM. Do not exclude certain infrastructure, especially not subjects like DLT. We have no other infrastructure where we have a qualified trust service provider who could provide this to ensure proven trust and security. And let's establish those ecosystem using the EU business model and using existing infrastructures like the EBSI first. And afterwards, we can transfer all the stuff to ISO. But let's do our homework first in Europe so that we avoid the issue we have in the IDAS on the EUDI, that there will have been no standards to be referenced on DLT and decentralized identifiers, so that we are able to use those components within the EU business wallet. This is exactly our chance, and this is the area where DLT could provide the most added value.
Thank you, Stefan. And Urko, your closing statement?
Yeah, no, I agree with Stefan, and I understand his vision, working from Europe and from the work that is done in EBSI to close right the standards and all these things. But I think in our case, from our vision, we are also working in that with that vision. We are working on how digital identity is used and applying it in LATAM, and trying to work in interoperable protocol. So in that sense, I think that my last statement is that we have to join our forces from LATAM and Europe and try to have a standard in ISO that can satisfy all the requirements of all of us.
Okay, thank you, Urko. So Yeah, thank you very much. Stefan
There is
Urko.
actually a raised hand. I don't know if we can take one question quickly from
Yeah, we can.
Christina.
Yes, we
Christiana.
can.
Yes, thank you very much. I
Christina.
indeed I raised my hand, but you didn't see it. It's okay.
Sorry.
Earlier, I mean, no problem. Just I want to support what the speakers say here. Especially, I want to build on Steffen's position. So I am also involved in this area, in fact, deeply, and I see that we now need to define standards for electronic ledgers under the EUDI framework. But maybe we should be asking ourselves, does Europe need to start from scratch? And the answer maybe is that Europe is not starting from zero, because we already have a foundational infrastructure, and that is, as Steffen said, is EBSI, is ETSI, and so we should be identifying the objectives here. We need to think about this deeply, because we are not here to reinvent the whole system, but in my view, we are supposed to leverage, we are supposed to standardize and scale what we already have, what already exists. So I want to support Steffen here, because what we should be seeing, or what we should be discussing and considering, is a set of harmonized requirements for electronic ledgers that are fully interoperable with EUDI wallets, the eIDAS trust services, and cross-border identity use cases. But importantly, it should be grounded in real implementations like ETSI. So from a standardization perspective, maybe we should be considering a few priorities, which in my view, and I see that Steffen has the same position. We need to see interoperability by design, because we need to ensure that ETSI and other ledger systems can seamlessly integrate with the EUDI ecosystem across member states, and then it's governance and accountability. So we need governance and accountability frameworks building on ETSI's model to define clearer the roles, clearer the responsibilities, the operational structures, because we all know without governance there is no trust. And thirdly, we need to align with the broader EU regulation, which means we need to include the Data Act, the GDPR, the CRA, the NIS2, because we need to ensure that these infrastructures are not only functional, but they are compliant. And they are not only compliant, but they are resilient. So we need to focus on this and consider this deeply, standardizing governance models based on ETSI, defining interoperability standards between EUDI wallets and ledgers, developing also security and resilience frameworks aligned with the CRA, and this is what we do now, and also discussing the smart contracts already in JTC 19, smart contracts for the CRA, and also we need to establish conformance and certification mechanisms. So I would say that what we have to do is like consolidating Europe's trust infrastructure for digital identity. And if we get this right, I'm finishing, and if we get this right, we will not only ensure interoperability within Europe, we will also position Europe globally as a leader in trusted, standardized digital identity ecosystems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christiana.
I just would summarize this. Thank you very much, Christiana. And I would summarize this with a short request to the Commission. Just be brave, trust in European standards, trust in European infrastructures, reference European standards first. If you have requirements, send us a standardization request. this is the task of ETSI, and then according to 1025/2012, if you have requirements, give them to us. Trust in your European infrastructures you already funded within, for example, the EBSI. We have those infrastructures. Let's reuse it. And one last sentence, ENISA established a working group for alignment of standards within cybersecurity, exactly what Christiana said. Let's use this working group to achieve exactly this alignment. So long story short, my wish and recommendation to the Commission is trust in Europe, trust in European standards, trust in your own infrastructures. We already found that we are strong enough to use it. We do not need non-European standards. We are strong enough to use our own ones. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have nothing more to say. Reduce, reuse, and recycle the knowledge. So thank you very much. It was pretty interesting.